Why the Boston Celtics have a real chance to win the 2020 NBA Finals. With the season in full swing, we are certainly going to be nursing a lot of expectations and other times uncertainties. But whatever the feeling, it is fair, as this period is utterly unmapped territory for an NBA season. Nevertheless, in the glimmer of hope and anticipations, you shouldn't lower the expectations you probably have towards the Celtics. It is the NBA Finals and there is a lot to be seen. Before we proceed with this video, don't forget to subscribe and click on the button to stay in touch with all the fun-filled and entertaining videos we share right here on this channel. And if you do click on the button right now, we will notify you once we've uploaded a new video. Now, before the ongoing pandemic and halt of the NBA season, the Boston Celtics were giving off a good show and having an excellent regular season. With that said, even with a regular season, there was no surety of them entering the playoff to guarantee going home with a league title. Personally, I feel the lengthy layoff did them a lot of good. True, the Celtics may not have presented a dominant superstar to fall back on when the going gets really tough, but I do admire them for their balance in their choice of players. The balance in their roster will surely make it hard for any team that comes up against them in a playoff. Coach Brad Stevens is such a name that no team would want to come up against, and with the team having a coach such as this, is doubtless to their advantage. Here are 6 reasons why the Boston Celtics have a real shot at winning the 2020 NBA Finals. Number 1, Kemba Walker can effortlessly take over fourth quarters. Kemba has a rich, deserved reputation as a clutch player that goes back to his collegiate days at UConn. He lacks size at the point guard position, but that doesn't stop him from carving up bigger guards that try to check him down the stretch. The talented point guard was quietly having one of the most productive offensive seasons of his career before the season was shut down. His efficient field goal percentage of 52% through 50 games was actually the second best mark of his career.
Defender and how nicely he uses his body against
The egalitarian nature of the Celtics offense has undoubtedly made him a more efficient scorer in Boston. Sharing the ball early in games will give Walker more energy to make tougher plays down the stretch. That's why he will still be the team's number 1 option when it comes to a bucket late in the games.
Walker for 2. Point to the corner.
That's when his step-back jumper can be the most valuable weapon the Celtics have. Walker may not be the first guy fans consider when they consider players they'd like to go to if they need a bucket late in the game. That doesn't mean he won't be an efficient weapon for the Celtics in those circumstances. Clutch shooting may be a myth, but efficiency isn't. That's what makes Walker a valuable weapon late in the fourth quarter. Number 2, Brad Stevens' impeccable coaching skill. Stevens is arguably the best tactical coach in the NBA. His ability to create quality looks for the Celtics out of timeouts is particularly crucial in tight games. Scheming an extra bucket or 2 for his team in the playoffs can be the difference between an essential win or loss.
Went over Milwaukee the other night with the way he just kind of ran the offense. Kemba Walker pulls up, pulls down another.
The primary job of any coach is to put his players in the best possible position to win. Stevens does an excellent job of deploying his roster in the most effective manner possible. He doesn't ask Cantor to protect the rim. Instead, he asks him to get buckets in the post and rebound. That's just one example of how Stevens gets the most out of a flawed player. One thing Stevens doesn't get enough credit for is his work with the Celtics defense. The team's defense was second in the NBA in points allowed per game and 4th in opponents' points per 100 possessions when the regular season ended. The bottom line is that Stevens deserves to be considered one of just a handful of elite coaches in the NBA. He's got the ability to turn a series in his team's favor with a subtle adjustment or 2. Not many coaches in the league can make that sort of impact. That gives Boston a significant advantage on the bench in the postseason. Number 3, they have superior depth. It's a fact that NBA rotations shorten come playoff time. That doesn't mean depth is no longer an essential factor in the postseason. Having potential game changers to bring in off the bench will be a massive plus for the Celtics. Now, if you are looking for the best one-on-one defender in the league, Marcus Smart should be the name on your lips. His offensive shortcomings make it challenging to deploy him as a starter, but he has the defensive chops to lock up an opposing superstar in the playoffs.
Paul George comes in, averaging
In a perfect world, the Celtics can play him for about 20 high-leverage minutes per game to cool off an opposing superstar. In a completely different way, Enes Kanter also has a skill set that can significantly alter a playoff series. His defensive shortcomings constitute a significant issue, but his ability to score in the post can be a nightmare for opposing teams. Kanter can be an offensive force against the right teams that gives Boston a massive advantage in battles between second units. Stevens isn't going to regularly play 10 or 11 guys in the playoffs, but he's got some weapons off the bench as his 6th, 7th, and 8th men. Used correctly, the Celtics can turn their advantage on the bench into an extra win or two in the postseason. Number 4, the Celtics can go small. No one will ever compare the line of death the Golden State Warriors used to win the NBA at their dominance level with the Celtics' small closing five. However, this does not mean the team can't give their opponents real fits in this year's playoffs.
First 2 buckets here, Celtics still up 5. Kemba crossover into the paint, right hand.
Stevens could easily decide to close games with a lineup that consists of Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker, Daniel Theis, Gordon Hayward, and Jayson Tatum. Not to sound overconfident or anything, but everyone other than Theis in that roster can easily play against the opposing team. That makes it almost unrealistic to arrange the team to guard all 5 positions. Daniel Theis' ability to guard the rim and move his feet at the 5 is crucial to the lineup's effectiveness. He has to play well to make it work. In many ways, the German big could be Boston's most outstanding player come playoff time. Number 5, they have multiple wings who can shoot and make plays. Most NBA teams are currently bemoaning the lack of wing talent available throughout the league. Credit the Celtics for making sure they weren't going to suffer from that shortage. Their plethora of talent on the arm will give them a huge advantage come playoff time. Jayson Tatum is one of the best wing scorers in the league.
By the Celtics on the defensive end. Kemba Walker back on the floor for Boston.
Oh, my.
His ability to bomb threes from well behind the arc gives the Celtics offense a ton of spacing. His percentages from deep may wax and wane slightly, but few shooters in the NBA are better than Tatum when he's locked in. Jaylen Brown isn't as good of a perimeter shooter as Tatum, but he's a better slasher from the wing. The strength of his skill on both ends of the floor will push Boston beyond everyone's expectations, even in the postseason. Gordon Hayward may not be the star he was in his prime, but he's still a wing with quality size, shooting over 39% from a distance during the regular season. Anyone who leaves him open during the playoffs is going to pay dearly for that mistake.
5 at the clock, Walker.
Yes. Oh, man.
Add the value of that trio up, and it's a clear advantage for the Celtics against almost any opponent they might encounter. Matching up with each player is a nightmarish proposition for Boston's playoff peers. Number 6, the Celtics are a top 5 team on the field. Currently, the Celtics are 6th in the NBA in road win percentage and are 5th in total wins on the road. The Raptors and Milwaukee Bucks are 2 great teams that are ranking ahead of them. The Boston Celtics will have to face those teams on their way to the NBA Finals. If they can confidently get a 2nd seed over the Raptors, having home court advantage over them will significantly simplify the entire season.
Sets a screen, down to 5. Walker decides to take it to the basket, gets an easy 2.
To get that recommended spot in the playoffs, winning on the road is a must. Nonetheless, the regular season is a good sign if a team is cut out to perform that way in the postseason. It's common knowledge that when teams play at home, especially in the playoffs, they tend to play a great game. And stealing a game in an opponent's arena will give the team confidence and deflate the opposition's determination. If the Celtics can beat the Raptors and the Bucks, their road success would be powerful to stand against a Western foe. The Los Angeles Lakers are presently the only Western opponent moving ahead of Boston in the road win percentage. The Celtics already disgraced the Lakers on the parquet in January, so beating them wouldn't really be a big deal. If the Celtics' road success can consistently stay excellent in the postseason, the Celtics should be confident enough to face anybody, even though they're not at home.
And Tatum really played some good defense on that one.
Walker, a nice move, comes up on the other side.
The Celtics have had an astonishing season in the best possible way. With a present record of 41-19, they are definitely in a fierce battle with the Raptors for the 2nd seed in the East. A stable scoring attack has led the way for the team, as they have 3 players averaging 20-plus points per night. In addition to that, Marcus Smart has chipped in 12.9 points per game, and Gordon Hayward sits at 17 points every night. Their main starting five include Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Gordon Hayward, Jayson Tatum, and Daniel Theis. These names have only played 17 games together, not minding that the team already has played 60 games. Regardless of the variation, the Celtics are among the top 10 teams in defensive and offensive ratings. If their offense improves over the next few games, they will take a leap into the top 5 for both categories. Many people view the Celtics as a second-round exit, but they have a genuine chance to make it past the second round and make it one step further and get to the NBA Finals. Anyways, guys, that's it for me today. If you have a different observation on the shared view and think the Boston Celtics will not be winning this season, well, be sure to share your opinions in the comment section below. And if you love this video, please give us a like. Don't forget, subscribe and hit that bell button. That's all for me today, guys. Thanks for staying with us on this video. We'll see you next time.